Brad Pitt in Fight Club, Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool, Zac Efron in Baywatch, and Daniel Craig as James Bond. These are iconic Hollywood physiques that if you're anything like me, you have them as a benchmark for aesthetic builds. And they probably seem impossible to achieve. But here's the truth, they're more attainable than you think. In fact, all these guys were under 6 feet tall and weighed less than 180 pounds for these iconic roles. Today, I'm breaking down exactly what these physiques have in common and why they're achievable for the average guy. We'll cover the exact body fat percentages, the simple diet principles, and the key exercises that create this look. This is a look that ages well, with Brad Pitt now 60, Daniel Craig 56, and Ryan Reynolds 48. We won't mention Zac Efron as he's now handsome Squidward due to plastic surgery, but he's still got a solid body. Bottom line, if you can get to or near this physique and maintain it, you'll be leagues ahead of your peers in every age group from your 20s into your 60s. First, let's bust a myth. These guys are not massive. They're lean and athletic, focusing on definition over size. Look at Daniel Craig's approach for Bond. He focused on functional fitness that looked good on camera but was still practical. This means moderate levels of muscle mass, low body fat, and an emphasis on shoulders and upper body. Brad Pitt in Fight Club, at 5'11", he weighed just 155 pounds. Ryan Reynolds, around 175. And at 5'10", Daniel Craig was a similar weight, probably around 175. These are not bodybuilder numbers. They're totally achievable weights for most of us. So what does this mean? Well, the key to this look is not mass. It's getting to the right body fat percentage. These physiques typically sit between 8 to 12% body fat. That's lean enough to show a definition, but not so extreme that it's unsustainable. While we're here though, we should probably mention that Zac Efron, by his own admission, actually went a little too far for Baywatch, getting down to probably mid-single digits body fat. He later said that it was unsustainable. And so we're aiming for something that you can actually maintain most of the time. The diet approach is actually surprisingly simple. These actors all follow similar principles that we'll lay out here. These principles are things like high protein, that's 1 gram per pound of body weight, moderate carbs, low fat, and portion control. Ryan Reynolds' trainer, Don Saladino, used what he calls the palm fist thumb method. To illustrate this, your open palm should fit your portion of protein, your closed fist should be the size of your carb portion, and your thumb should be the size of your fat portion. And that basically breaks down what a typical meal looked like for Ryan Reynolds when Don Saladino was training. Now, from a meal plan perspective, this could look like a 4-egg white breakfast with oatmeal. This can look like a lunch that's chicken breast, brown rice, and vegetables. And this can look like a dinner that's fish or another lean meat with sweet potato and greens. And obviously snacks like protein shakes and a little bit of nuts. Now, when it comes to training to achieve a visually impactful and balanced physique, these actors emphasize specific muscle groups like shoulders, chest, back, and abs. Training these areas creates a strong proportional look. So for shoulders, you're doing overhead press, lateral raises, that sort of stuff. Upper chest, you're doing things like incline bench press, and it creates a fuller appearance under your shirt of your chest. And for triceps, you can be doing things like tricep press down, and those create a fuller outer arm appearance to give you more silhouette type definition. And from a lats perspective, I do things like lat pull downs, obviously, or seated rows, and that is really going to bring out that V taper for your overall symmetry. And of course, abs. Usually they're the thing that cue people in that you are actually in shape, and these are some of the most referenced portions of the physiques I talked about, like Ryan Reynolds, like Zac Efron, all these guys, Brad Pitt, maybe only Daniel Craig didn't have amazing abs, but they all have that leanness that you can see most clearly in their abs. And so don't sleep on doing ab exercises as well. Interestingly, Ryan Reynolds' trainer, Don Saladino, emphasized that he worked at 80% capacity to prevent burnout, which is actually a great note. You don't always have to go balls to the wall, train to failure. Really, it's more about sustainability over time that will yield results with these exercises. And contrary to what you see online, complexity is really not a factor. You want to stay away from the overly complex exercises you see recommended on social media and just stick with the meat and potatoes, the basics that will, zero in on these muscle groups and give you that defined look, as I mentioned. And don't forget to take regular recovery periods. Obviously, you want to wait if you're training naturally 48 to 72 hours between training certain muscle groups. So if you trained chest on Monday, don't train it again until Wednesday or Thursday. So really, we're all about sort of patience and sustainability in a lot of what we're focused on here. Because again, as I mentioned, these are guys that, while they may have started young, are still maintaining their physiques into their quote unquote old age. And do that not by lifting super, super heavy, but by lifting consistently, probably around that 80% level all the time. So remember, these physiques aren't about extreme measures. They're about consistency with the right approach. So focus on getting to 10 to 12% body fat, maintain a high protein diet, and emphasize compound movements that target the shoulders and upper body and that V taper, like I mentioned, of course, also the abs. That's the formula these actors use, and it's one you can follow too. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this at all entertaining or informational. We have had a couple great video successes lately, several thousand views. So we are trending upwards, and I thank everyone that's taken the time to comment, to watch, to like. I don't miss any of it. I love it. Thanks for watching anyways.